Good morning, everyone. Today it's the 23rd of August 2022. It's about 10:45 in the morning, and as you can see, I'm still in my room for the very last time in a very long time, because tonight I will embark on a 25-hour trip from Amsterdam to Melbourne with a pit stop in between in Singapore. How am I feeling? Well, over the past few days, many people have asked me whether I'm feeling excited or not. I'd respond yes, because I am feeling really excited, but I don't think that description would do my current mood justice. I'm not sure if a single word even exists for the feelings that I'm experiencing right now. Yeah, sure, I'm feeling a lot of excitement, but at the same time, I also feel a lot of fear and sadness, really. Looking back, it's really strange, you know. I spent so much time looking forward to this moment. From the moment I received the green light from the University of Melbourne for the first time, which is already 5 months ago, and angst and sadness were pretty much non-existent at the time. But as my departure date grew closer, the excitement gradually shifted into fear and sadness, really. But I guess it's part of the process, you know, just like the iPhone that I'm recording this on was once an idea that was executed into a real-life project. Well, so was Australia, in the sense that it used to be more of a romantic idea in my head, which has now turned into a reality in the past week. So I've been starting to realize that I'm leaving a lot behind, which I really hadn't considered that much before the past week, basically. But I've always been a firm believer that where one door closes, another one opens. Sure, I'll be leaving a lot behind, I know. But at the same time, I know I will trade them in for some very amazing experiences and adventures waiting ahead of me. And I'm happy to bring you along. So, cheers, see you tonight. Can't wait to swap this stuff for some real Melbourne coffee.
We took the train between Leeuwarden to The Hague at 1:30 to reach Schiphol. This should take a bit less than 2 hours, but because of a malfunction it arrived 30 minutes later. Luckily, it happened while we were already very close to Schiphol, and of course, we departed far in advance of my flight. Anyway, Schiphol.
Alright, so despite some hiccups, because you know it's a Dutch railway system, I managed to make it to Schiphol, as you can see. It's 4 p.m. right now, and we're already going to the check-in hall, because there's going to be acquaintances waiting there for me.
And not just any acquaintance. These people are very good friends of my parents. This woman has actually babysitted us, all three of us, for a long time during our childhood. She's basically my second mother.
Hi everyone, so it's about 6 p.m. right now. I'm still at Schiphol Airport. I just finished handing in all my luggage, and because I'm actually quite early, I still had some time to check out some airplanes. So right now I'm at Schiphol Panorama Terrace, and look at this. That is a KLM plane that's just about to take off. And in a few hours, one of those is going to take me to Singapore.
My flight was visible on screen, and I was allowed to pass security already. I said goodbye to my family and headed for security.
Alright, so it's 7:30. I'm still at Schiphol Airport, but I now managed to make it past security. Miraculously, by the way. They are not really very keen on bringing in technology. Anyway, this also means that I had to say goodbye to my family. It was a good goodbye. I'm satisfied. We managed to say what we wanted to say, and I'll make sure to contact them as soon as I land. However, it's really just dawning into me that, you know, that goodbye was the very last time I'm going to see them physically for a really long time. But, you know, it's part of the deal. The only thing that matters for me right now is to find out which gate I have to go to and then board that plane, and I'll see you in Singapore. Alright, so I finally managed to find the gate, and my zone is about to board into the airplane, which we can see right there. I can't believe it. It's finally happening, guys. I'm going to Melbourne. See you down under.
I figured I also do some reporting from the airplane. We departed on time from Amsterdam and were then served dinner until the lights went off for sleepy time. There was plenty of entertainment on board. I watched a few movies: King Richard, Uncharted, and The Courier. Time of reporting is 7 AM Amsterdam time. We are flying somewhere above the Bay of Bengal at an altitude of 10 kilometers with about 2 hours to go. Shortly after, the windows opened up and we received some breakfast. Quick note, used to be that KLM didn't have vegetarian dishes. Now there are vegetarian options, but there's still room for improvement as there are no vegan options.
So, as you can see, I'm wearing my face mask because that's a mandatory thing from the Singaporean government. But what I really wanted to talk about is the elephant in the room, or actually in this case the elephant in the cabin, which is that I'm using the most pollution heavy mode of transportation that there basically is to reach my destination. Of course, the argument here is that it would be downright impossible to reach Australia in a somewhat reasonable or acceptable time frame, was it not for the airplane. But on the other hand, I deem the research and the reporting that I'm going to do in Australia too important, so I would say the trip does serve some useful purpose. Conversely, you could also say that it is not necessary to have somebody fly over all the way from Europe to Australia in order to do that, but I guess that's a selfish component of this vlog series, because I want to go and discover the culture and the wildlife of Australia. Quick mention though, I did pay $14 in order to compensate for the carbon costs of this flight for me and myself. Does that condone the pollution that I attributed to with my flight? Well, no, but it's a step in the right direction.
At 9:48 AM Amsterdam time, the plane landed at Singapore airport and would later continue its journey to Jakarta. I, of course, had other plans this time.
It's 11:30 in Amsterdam right now, but in local time it's 5:30 in the afternoon, because I've arrived at Singapore airport. And as per Singapore regulations, I'm still wearing a face mask because it's mandatory over here. Anyway, as a person who frequently visits Indonesia, I'm not quite unfamiliar with this place. I've gone here many times and certainly a lot has changed. I also just realized that this is actually the closest I've ever gotten to my grandma without the purpose of actually going to my grandma, or at least not yet. So at 5:45 I received the gate information, and as I approached the gate I actually found out that it opens only in 2.5 hours. But luckily I can fill the next 2 hours watching the terminal, which is about a guy that's stuck at an airport, ironically.
I continue my journey to Melbourne with Jetstar Airlines, which is a subsidiary of the larger, better known Australian airline agency, Qantas. We departed 50 minutes later than scheduled because of technical difficulties, but at least we are moving. By the way, at this point I'm flying over Bandung. That's the city where my grandmother lives. So close yet so far. To minimize the jet lag as much as possible, I tried to sleep basically the entire flight. Since I will arrive in the early morning, I'd already synchronized my rhythm with the time zone in Melbourne. The flight duration was 7 hours. That's significantly more than half the time it took to fly from Amsterdam to Singapore, just to give you an idea of how huge Australia is. About an hour before arriving in Melbourne, I saw this beautiful sunrise somewhere over Adelaide. That red glow, isn't it exactly what you'd imagine when you think of Australia? And at 7:36 AM Melbourne time, the plane finally landed.
Well, after a 25-hour flight, guess what? I've made it to Tullamarine Airport, Melbourne. It's about 8 in the morning. Welcome to Melbourne, guys. I can't believe it. It's finally here. I finally made it.
After picking up my bags and going through security, I grabbed an Uber to take me to my apartment. I fought for all I had in me to stay awake. It's the best thing you can do to fight a jet lag.
Today it's the 26th of August, 10 a.m. We're making a bit of a jump here because yesterday I was way too tired from the jet lag, and because of that I didn't really make a lot of footage. So I'm sorry about that, but I'm trying to make up for it right now. First things first, some quick first impressions of Melbourne. Melbourne is a really huge city, I think. Like with the freeways, the toll roads, and the humongous skyscrapers that you can see from those freeways. The only city that I can compare it to is Jakarta, which is the capital city of Indonesia and really huge.
Even though I arrive at the end of winter, for Melbourne there's a saying that goes 4 seasons in a day. I can attest to that. It was raining heavily on my way from the airport to home, and look at the weather now. Melbourne is the second largest city of Australia behind Sydney, and is often regarded as its more hip and artsy little brother. From just a few walks around the block, you can tell that the city just oozes art. Also, I saw my first Australian magpie. Can't wait for magpie season.
With regards to how I'm feeling, I'm in a much better emotional state than I was yesterday, obviously. I managed to get a good amount of rest, but I still just feel really weird. You know, Australia, while it's still part of the Western society, you know, you still come in a culture where basal concepts are just completely different, and basically I really feel like I'm an alien here, and it will take some time to adjust and settle in, but still, it feels really weird. I don't know how to properly describe it. And also, the feelings are, the idea has been dawning on me that I actually live here now. It's such a surreal feeling that this is now, temporarily but still, my new home. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on in my mind a lot right now. So either way, right now I'm taking a stroll throughout the neighborhood. This is the suburb of Richmond. And I'm crossing over into the suburb Hawthorne because I need to open my bank account. So that's what I'm going to do today. And afterwards, I'm going to buy a mattress because my room is still empty. And soon I will give you a quick tour around the apartment. Quick note before I forget, I will delve into the suburbs of Melbourne in later episodes. I will. For now, I'm just keeping it at this shallow level, but I will elaborate, so don't worry.
I eventually had to pick up a mattress from the IKEA warehouse and carry it like a battering ram to my apartment. Luckily, just a 10-minute walk.
Welcome to my apartment, everyone. As promised, I wanted to give you a quick tour throughout the house, show you what it looks like. Here we have the bathroom with a built-in toilet and a shower cabin. Let's head on over to what the kitchen looks like. This is the kitchen, oven with a furnace. There's the sink. There's a fridge with a freezer, a couple of pantries, a dryer, and a washing machine over there. Okay, so let's scooch on over to where my room is. This is my absolute joke of a room, but it's still a work in progress, and it's going to be my masterpiece. And my masterpiece of my art is to basically make the most out of this room with the least amount of money possible. Let's head on over to the living room. Say hi to yourself, everyone. So, the apartment also has a huge TV, as you can see here, on which you can watch Netflix or Disney Plus or YouTube or whatever from this cozy little couch over here. Now we're passing my roommate's room, and I'm going to whisper a bit because he's probably asleep. But now I'm going to show you the creme de la creme of the whole apartment, which is this balcony on which you can relax, have a morning coffee, and if you're a smoker, have a smoke as well. But the real jackpot is this amazing view over Melbourne. Isn't that great? So yeah, let me know what you think about it. Also, if I hadn't mentioned it yet, we have our very own coffee machine, which, if I hadn't mentioned it yet, Melburnians take very much pride in their own coffee, so I'm going to make myself some now. So I hope you enjoyed my short little journey from Amsterdam to Melbourne. If you are keen on learning more about Australia's nature and wildlife, as well as Australia's culture, and specifically the discovery of Melbourne from the perspective of a Dutch person who just settled here for the first time, then please subscribe to follow my future episodes. Now, I'm going to enjoy my morning coffee, and I wish you a very pleasant day. Yeah, that's much better.
Before I forget, also don't forget to follow me on my Instagram and on my Facebook page if you want to stay up to date with my adventures down under. And also visit julesdownunder.com to learn more about the research that I'm doing and to read blog posts that I frequently upload about my adventures down under. And if you like the music that I used in these videos, visit my SoundCloud account, that's Jules Liquor Pools, where I will upload all the tracks that are used in this and in future episodes. Alright, cheers!